just a quick PSA, right? There are some of us out there that do not give a fuck about physics. Okay, this is the reason why we like games like NBA Street, like FIFA Street. This is another video that we're gonna react to, which is the the Mojo's Plays. I think is this a different one from what the Mojo's Plays? The other ones, okay, so it's, I guess this is like a sub channel from Watch Mojo, or they might be different channels. I'm not sure. This is the video we're gonna react to today, which is the, like I told you, the top 20 PS2 games we need on the PS5. So I gotta make sure, show them love, give them a like, make sure to subscribe. Why not? Give us more content to react to for y'all. Right. All right. Let me actually make sure the sound is good. Hold on. We're just gonna hold on, y'all. Mom Duke's calling me. I had to check in with Mom Dukes. Make sure she was straight. Make sure it was good. All right. 20 PS2 games.
I didn't come back for you.
All right.
Welcome to Mojoplays, and today we're taking a look at 20 PS2 games that we desperately want ported over.
Let me know if you need it a little
PlayStation
higher.
5. Now that Sony has brought forward
I know
Sly
sometimes it's a
Cooper,
little
Lara
low.
Croft, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's time we start digging into this massive catalog from the 6th generation of console gaming.
Metal Arms. Okay.
Before we begin, we publish new videos
Was
all
that part
week
of the
long,
list?
so be sure to subscribe to
never seen that game
Mojoplays
before,
and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
We already
Ratchet
subscribed.
and Clank series.
Yo, that's a fact. Okay, they starting off pretty good so far. This one's good so far. We'll go right
It's
there.
safe to assume that the Lombax and Warbots original adventures are coming to PS5 very, very soon, now that
Facts.
Sly has snuck his way onto the platform. And
Very
with the
true.
Jak and Daxter franchise being available on PS4 and PS5 with some backwards compatibility, all that's left from the PS2 trio of mascots is Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
The first game, Going Commando, Up Your Arsenal, and Deadlocked only have their PS3 HD ports playable on PS5, and it's only playable via cloud streaming, which, as most of us know, is not the most efficient way to play these games, or video games in general.
Facts. Oh, that's the
That especially goes for a
Okay,
high-octane platformer shooter like Ratchet and Clank. And given how complex it has been for Sony to re-engineer PS3 games for modern consoles, it's unlikely that they'll bring the HD ports forward when they just figured out how to make PS2 games run on their new hardware. That said, when Ratchet and Clank make the leap to PS5, we'll probably be playing the original versions. And yes, they are still fun to play today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, regardless, at least if we could at least play it, that's fine with me.
I've been doing everything in my power to make you a star.
Ico.
Okay, never played this game either.
Ico has not withstood the test of time. That's just the honest truth. The controls can be a tad cumbersome for some players, and the hand-holding might frustrate others. However, we are recognizing this title for its importance in the PlayStation ecosystem. Thanks to the efforts of Japan Studio and other Japanese devs, the PS2 saw a treasure trove of unique experimental games, Ico being one of them.
So what is it? I mean, what's the purpose of the game? It looks like you're just like fighting dark
Shadow
spirits?
of the Colossus has already been preserved a handful of times over, but Ico, the game Colossus was tied to during the PS3 days, hasn't been preserved for the modern era.
Hold on, sorry, yeah. For a PS2 game, not obviously, respectfully, those graphics are beautiful, and I love how the just the setting of it. It looks. I've never seen, like I said, I've never seen this game before, so this looks fire though. I'm not gonna lie. This might have to be another one we might look into.
Controls of the DualSense controller, perhaps the advancements in technology will make Ico more bearable for those who have gone back and found a poorly aged gem. Gran Turismo 4.
Oh, okay. This is a good one. Gran Turismo. That whole
In
series,
2017,
definitely a
former
classic.
PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan made a remark about why anyone would want to play the older Gran Turismo games, stating, quote, "They looked ancient. Why would anybody play this?"
That's the
End
point.
quote. Well,
It don't
Jimmy,
matter about the
first off,
graphics, bro.
GT7 isn't like the older games in any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Take GT4 for example. Yes, it does look ancient when you're comparing it to the latest game in the franchise. However,
Obviously.
do you know what some folks love most about video games and replaying older games in a series?
Tell
It's
me.
about seeing the evolution, man. It's about seeing how far we have come
Hello?
since 2005 and before.
Like, the graphics don't care. We just want to play because of what it gives us, the nostalgia.
That's why we need GT4. It's why we need the other Gran Turismo games. And as players rediscover
Talk your
unique
shit.
modes like the B-Spec mode, where you get to play the role of a racing crew chief instead of the driver for a change, your developers like Polyphony can revisit old ideas or come up with new ideas for future titles. So yes, it may be old, but give us GT4 on PS5. And if not that, then give us A-Spec at least. Xenosaga series.
Never seen this game.
Today, JRPG developers are at the top of their game. Really, this genre has never been as big
Xenosaga?
as it is in this day and age. So Bandai Namco, what is keeping you from retreading old ground? What is keeping you from reintroducing
gives another vibe of
the
Final Fantasy.
Xenosaga games? For those who don't know about this series, we won't lie. It's about as heavy in the cutscenes as Death Stranding is. But like
Okay.
Gran Turismo 4 and Ico, Xenosaga kind of became synonymous with the PS2. Yes, it was because all three games were primarily PS2 games before the
Okay.
first two games were remade for Nintendo DS. Still, this was another series that showcased the visual and audio fidelity the console was known for at the time.
Right. I do like the whole,
And with so many new players
It
in the
seems
JRPG
very,
scene, maybe now
like
is a
high
good
on
time to see how
robots.
folks today would react to a game like
Like the
this.
robotic fighting
Who knows?
and
Maybe this
very
was just the
advanced
PS2's
society.
own Order
But that looks-
1886,
that looks cool.
and we're just too caught up in nostalgia. Twisted Metal Head On.
yo,
Extra Twisted Edition.
yes. Twisted Metal Head On PS5 will be fucking fire. And if possible, make that shit online.
Twisted Metal is in a
That would
unique
be
position
fucking
where
crazy,
it
I'm
does have
telling
some
you.
of the public's attention thanks to the TV show and the PS4 and PS5
Yo,
ports of the
if they
first
were
two
to make
games.
this game
the first
for the
PS2 game in the
PS5,
franchise, Twisted Metal
add that
Black,
to
is already
online,
available on those platforms. But the
and
PS2
y'all could even-
port of
if
Head
y'all
On
didn't even think
should
about
be
that, take
brought
the idea.
forward for more reasons than just it's the only other Twisted Metal on PS2 that we don't have. The port not only brought a PSP classic over to home consoles, it also came with an abundance of behind-the-scenes stuff that spans the franchise's history.
Boy, that game needs to be fucking
First, you
lit.
had The Dark Past, which was a roughly 30-minute documentary featuring series creators David Jaffe and Scott Campbell, as well as other veteran devs who have worked on the games. Then you had the Sweet Tour mode, which gave us a glimpse of a cancelled Twisted Metal game while showing players concept art, photos, and models used in previous titles. And lastly, you had Twisted Metal Lost, which took 4 scrapped levels from Twisted Metal Black 2, which has long been cancelled, and made a bite-sized game out of it. Basically, this game could be used to wrangle in new fans and bring them up to speed on the IP's history, while offering them a really great port of a really great PSP game.
Facts. I played,
Dragon
yeah, I
Quest
played,
8, Journey of the Cursed
I had
King.
it for the PS1 if I'm not mistaken. Dragon Quest 8. And it's fire, I'm not gonna lie. It's a really
Much
good
of the
game.
Dragon Quest franchise
Especially if
is
you have, like,
fragmented.
couple
As new
people
titles
over the
come
crib
in,
to
old
just
ones
chill.
get left behind
It's a
on the
fire game.
platforms they launched on. And if there is one Dragon Quest game that needs to be brought forward ASAP, it's Journey of the Cursed King. With an imaginative world, captivating story, and memorable characters, Journey of the Cursed King quickly established itself as one of the greatest video games to grace the PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, the only time it has ever been re-released was when it was ported to the Nintendo 3DS
Did this nigga just turn
back
Super
in
Saiyan?
2017.
What the
Square
fuck?
Enix, it's time we truly preserve this classic. Let's get this working on PS5, man.
This damn near look like a Final Fantasy
Bloody Roar
structured
4.
like Dragon Ball Z game. Yikes.
To ask Konami for a new Bloody Roar game is like asking them for an impressive port of Metal Gear Solid. It just ain't happening. We do have some faith in the possibility of getting Bloody Roar 4 onto PS5 though. With the fighting game scene being way bigger than ever thanks to the efforts of Evo and various FGC streamers, now would be a good time to reintroduce this IP to new audiences, and Bloody Roar 4 is the best game for the job.
Never played this.
Both the
Yo,
visuals and controls hold up surprisingly well despite its age, and you don't really have
What's
any
going on,
other
bro?
fighting games with the concept of Tekken, but everyone can turn into animals. The
Yo,
only
what
major
the fuck?
hurdle is convincing Konami that
What
they
the
have
fuck?
other IP worth their attention, not just Metal Gear, Silent Hill, and Castlevania.
do you get to play? Is that the boss, or do you get to play? Oh, that's what they
Burnout
meant.
3
Okay.
Takedown.
Never played this game either. Chill, boy. Copyright. Tweaking.
Saddest moments of gaming history is how some IPs became homogenized and absorbed into bigger
Oh,
IPs,
shit.
such as the case with Burnout. Once a force in EA's portfolio, the destructive arcade
This shit
racer
give me,
has
like,
seen its mechanics
Midnight
get
Club
absorbed
vibes.
into the Need for Speed
Low-key.
series, which has been
That's another game you
struggling to
gotta
get a
play, too.
decent game out since its reboot in 2014. Perhaps more folks preferred the aggressiveness Burnout brought. So what better way to conduct that litmus test than Burnout 3 Takedown?
That's fire.
After all, this was
Listen.
one of the last games in the franchise to come out before the brief pivot it made into open world gameplay. It could
Listen, I'm gonna just a quick PSA, right? There are some of us out there that do not give a fuck about physics. Okay, this is the reason why we like games like NBA Street, like FIFA Street, like NFL Street, all these different types of games. This Burnout game, Twisted Metal. Some of us don't give a fuck whether the car should be driving itself or it got to make this. We trying to cook. We just trying to be online, cook people, just throw cars around, do crazy dunks, crazy passes. Like, that's the type of shit that's entertaining. Stop all this bullshit. It's cool. Like, yes, the 2Ks, the realism behind it is great, is perfect, yes, but don't leave out the other factors of creativity, like being able to do crazy shit, crazy moves. Like, that's the reason why we like playing games like this, is because of this the crazy shit we was able to do. A lot of the times, yes, we do like the realistic plays, but we also love games that just the physics doesn't make sense. Like, it defies the whole laws of it. Like, that's what some of us want. We got to get back to that. They playing.
remind folks what made
I
the
just had to
series great in the
go on
first
a quick
place
vent.
and possibly renew interest in the IP. Or, you know, it could be brought forward to PS5 just for preservation's sake, but what do I know, EA?
Right. Yikes.
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie game.
Really? I mean, yeah, nah, listen,
The
I fuck with
amazing Mr.
SpongeBob. I just never played
Absorbency
it.
has been seeing a stellar resurgence into video games with the 2020 remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom and 2023's The Cosmic Shake. If we were to get another SpongeBob game for modern consoles, we would love to see the game based on the 2004 movie make a grand return. While it
And for
wasn't
this
as
game to be on this
non-linear
list,
as the games before it,
people
the
must have been really
SpongeBob
fucking with this
SquarePants
game.
movie game was still a blast to play in how SpongeBob and Patrick had their own movesets. These moves helped open the doors for fun puzzles and combat encounters too. And if not this, then it'd be neat to just have the original Battle for Bikini Bottom available on modern hardware.
It's kind of like those
Sonic Heroes.
Oh yes, I agree with this one for sure.
Sonic has already seen a few of his classic 3D games revamped for today's consoles. Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. So when can we enjoy Sonic Heroes with the modern tech, huh? So many of us cherished the original game for its unique mechanics and concept of controlling a trio of characters with different powers. Only problem is that the controls aren't as tight as they could be.
This game was the shit. Especially being
Thanks
Shadow
to the
in this game. I
accuracy
used to
of
love
the
that shit.
DualSense controller, many action platformers such as Sly Cooper and Daxter have become even more enjoyable than they were back then. Sonic Heroes would greatly benefit from the PS5 and other platforms' capabilities. It's just a matter of hoping that Sega recognizes how many of us would love to see this game reintroduced for modern audiences.
I'll definitely cop and play. To be honest.
ATV Off-Road Fury 2.
Never played this either.
While we do have a few
I know for
motocross
sure though,
games
if they
these
did
days,
remaster
they are
this,
rather scarce
the
and
graphics
way
for this
too
would be
focused on
crazy.
product placement than making a quality game. Looks like we need to bring forward the ATV Off-Road Fury series, specifically the second game, to show everybody how it's done. With its entertaining physics and how they play into maintaining and increasing your speed, Off-Road Fury 2 offered up dozens of hours of fun in both its campaign and multiplayer modes.
You about to grind that shit? Oh.
There's just one issue, and that's probably preventing this game from returning. All that licensed music. But this is a Sony published game. And the original developers, Rainbow Studios, are still around. Rainbow even spent well over a decade on THQ Nordic's MX vs ATV series.
Up with him, my
so
nigga.
they have the experience.
What we doing then?
Sony's just got to figure out the costs to reinstate those music licenses or attempt to get the music replaced with something else, just like they did with Jet Moto and Twisted Metal 2. Metal Arms Glitch in the System.
Oh, this was in the listing. Yo,
Look,
these videos
we
be
know
putting
we've
me
been
on to so many
advocating for
different
this game
games.
a lot, like a lot, and I'm kind of at fault for that. But trust us, when we say this game is worth your attention. Metal Arms was a third-person shooter focused entirely on absurd robotic destruction. As Glitch, you'd collect various weapons that could lodge buzzsaws into enemies.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie, I'd play some shit like
this. A rocket
this.
launcher that could turn one rocket into 3, and even a tether that would let you possess certain enemies.
Fire. Why not?
Plus,
Fuck around
you
and
had
just
ridiculous yet cool
crash out on
moments
some
like
robots?
driving through scrapyards while shooting enemy vehicles
Fire.
and venturing through a wasteland haunted by zombie bots. It's crazy, it's hilarious, and if this somehow ever gets brought forward to PS5 in any capacity, it'll be a miracle. Sadly, it's hard to figure out who owns the IP anymore, as developer Swingin' Ape Studios shut down shortly after the game's launch.
Ooh, that was lit.
The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, this is a good one. Yes, I agree.
Much like
Simpsons
SpongeBob,
Hit and Run
The
would be
Simpsons
fucking
once
fire
had a
on the
storied
PS5.
career in video games. Unlike SpongeBob, they have been given no opportunity to bounce back. None whatsoever. And for the last several years, fans have been clamoring for Hit and Run to get ported, remade, or remastered for modern hardware. It's not hard to see why so many love this game with its fun mission structure, hilarious writing, and plethora of vehicles to unlock from the show's history.
Right. Sure.
Unfortunately, the closest we've ever gotten to this game returning was when the soundtrack suddenly appeared on Spotify in 2022, only for it to become unavailable to the public roughly a month or two later. The soundtrack is available again now, but we gotta say that all this activity is pretty
What's the
sus.
issue?
Is something
Yeah.
happening with Hit and Run after all? And if so, why is no one saying anything? What's
Right.
going on here?
Homie, Lisa left for school without her science project.
That game was
Can you get it
definitely
to her?
Oh, do I have
classic.
to?
You can drop it off on the way to work.
And I have to go to work?
Yo.
Ape Escape 3.
Oh yes! Oh my god, I remember this game.
So
Ape
far,
Escape,
we have almost
hell yeah.
every Ape Escape on
This game
PS5.
would
We've
be
got the
fire.
first game, the abysmal PSP remake, the Ape Academy spin-offs, and Ape Escape 2, even though it's a graphical
Oh, they have
mess
the
on
rest of them.
PS5.
Okay.
Does
Damn, I
anyone
gotta
else
download that
find it
thing.
weird that Ape Escape 3 isn't available yet? One would quickly
I might
point
have to
towards
get
the
this
Metal
game.
Gear Solid
Damn, yo, now we
crossover,
gotta get on the
possibly
PS5.
forcing Sony to seek Konami's permission to re-release the game. There's just
gotta
one
get it.
thing. Ape Escape 3 was rated for PlayStation 4 all the way back in 2016. And this came straight from the ESRB. So, where is this thing? Maybe this was planned before Sony abandoned the PS4's now ancient PS2 emulator. Maybe the new team is reworking it with the new emulator. Who can say? But it's weird how the final game in the franchise continues to elude us while the rest of the franchise is now available.
Ape Escape, that game was fire, bro.
The Getaway.
Oh shit, what the fuck?
It was the greatest game Team Soho ever developed. It was also the last game Team Soho ever developed.
Damn.
Not to hype it up too much,
Oh,
but
shit.
The Getaway was one of the coolest action-adventure games we had seen on PlayStation
What?
at the
He
time.
didn't even look at
It
him.
still holds up in some ways too, mostly in the visuals and driving. Shooting and gunplay is a different conversation, not one of the game's strongest suits, to be honest.
Charlie ain't gonna like this.
And while the script is kind of hit or miss, The Getaway was a major step forward in the types of games Sony was looking for to define the PlayStation name. You know, cinematic, movie-ish games.
Right.
That said, this one is more for dorks like us who like seeing the evolution of games and the evolution of
Kind of gives like the Godfather vibe. The game. That's
Time
another game I gotta get.
Splitters 2.
I remember this game. I've never played it, but I do remember the name of it.
Just as we were putting this video together, Taiwan's
Oh,
ratings
shit.
board leaked information regarding the first Time Splitters coming to PS4 and PS5 in July 2024. Well, if this is Embracer Group's way of trying to keep the franchise alive after closing down Free Radical for the second time in its life, so be it. Let's go all in then and get Time Splitters 2 on PlayStation before 2024
Man,
ends.
at that point.
After all, Xbox players can already enjoy both the acclaimed sequel and the third game, Future Perfect. Plus, all three Time Splitters games were also released on PlayStation
He
2.
punched the head off?
So
What the hell?
let's not leave the Sony ponies behind, eh? This is one of the best FPS series to have come out in the early 2000s. Folks deserve to experience these games. Silent Hill 3.
Ooh, that's another good.
You know, everyone talks about Silent Hill 2 so much, and we can understand why. But did we all forget there were 2 other games released on PlayStation 2? We would love to see Silent Hill 4 brought forward, of course. However, let's show some love
Why do I
for a
feel like
girl
people
Heather.
don't really talk about the
Silent
first
Hill
one?
3 was just as
Was the
spectacular.
first one good? I've
with
never
its
played it.
creepy environments,
I want to,
uncomfortable
not gonna
themes,
lie.
and stellar sound design.
Look at that. I'm not gonna lie.
We all know that James and his problems helped create one of the best stories in horror games, but let's not forget that Heather's tale is equally excellent in every way. We aren't holding our breath too much on this one either, because just like with Bloody Roar, Konami needs a lot of convincing to focus on anything that isn't Pyramid Head or Dracula.
I mean,
Tales of the Abyss.
Oh. Copyright.
Chris, how most of the Tales games are missing from modern hardware. Yes, we can all love Berseria and Arise all we want, but there are many other installments stranded on ancient platforms. Tales of the Abyss is the one game in the franchise we'd give anything, to see ported over to PlayStation 5, as it boasted some of the most breathtaking visuals and compelling storytelling we had experienced in the PS2 days. And to this day, it has only ever been ported forward to one platform, the Nintendo 3DS. What gives,
Boy.
Bandai Namco? What is with you in the 3DS? Huh? God of War and God of War 2.
10 years, Athena. I have faithfully served the gods for.
And see, you know what it is? I think they have it, but it's like you gotta do the monthly subscription to the PS. It's like PS Plus or something like that. I think you're able to play those games, but I 100% agree with them. I feel like if they're getting Sly Cooper on, they're making their way into the games that we really want to see, and this is 1000% one of them. You need to put this game on the PS5, bro. Just put the whole trilogy at this point. Just put literally the whole thing.
10 years.
Cause
When will you
they
relieve
playing.
me of these nightmares?
It is an absolute crime that both of these games are not available on PlayStation 5 yet. At the time of this video, the
See?
first two God of War games are playable on PS5, but only through their HD ports that were made for PlayStation 3. And like every other PlayStation 3 game, you can only play them through cloud streaming. Unacceptable. Perhaps the internal team responsible for PS5's emulators are already working on this, but Kratos' first adventures need to get on PS5 as soon as possible. With God of War becoming Sony's biggest first-party franchise in the company's history, preserving the games before 2018 and Ragnarok should be top priority. Let's just hope this franchise makes the jump before Kratos' 20th anniversary.
This path is of your choosing.
They'll fuck around and do it.
A choice.
Yeah, I agree. Most likely, bro. They have to.
As the gods themselves.
Champions of Norath, Realms of EverQuest.
To be honest,
Alright,
I'm
if
okay.
no one is going to really advocate for this game, then we will. Before everybody lost their minds over Elder Scrolls and Baldur's Gate, we did have an action RPG on PlayStation 2 that was equally outstanding as those games. Champions of Norath
Nah,
has been
respectfully,
largely
I
forgotten
couldn't
by
see
both
myself getting into a
hardcore
game like
and
this.
casual PlayStation fans.
Nothing
It
to
is
it, just-
a crying shame. From the deep character customization to the thrilling combat to the wondrous environments, Champions of Norath was basically Baldur's Gate 3 for the PS2. And Sony, guess what guys? You own this game. You do, yes, you own EverQuest. Bring this to PS5, man. We need this game on PS5 while the RPG train is still blazing down the railway. What are you doing?
I mean, maybe it'll be different, like if they were to remaster and do the graphics
Anyways,
and the scenery.
which PS2 game would you like to see added to
could see
PS5?
it.
Did it make our list? Let us know down in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to Mojoplays for more great videos every day.
Okay, alright. Okay. That was a solid list. That wasn't that bad. I feel like they missed out on a couple. So I gotta see, because for example, there was another game that I had saw, like I mean, obviously the ones like I mentioned earlier, like the street games like the NFL, the NBA, those would be dope to remaster. God of War, obviously. Not playing with our fucking emotions and get Def Jam on PS5. Like, we needed that now, to be honest. And I don't give a fuck about any obligations or any contractual shit. Get that game on there. Just Just do it, bro. Just do it. Do they have the like even the ones that we like the one that we playing today, like SmackDown versus Raw? That'd be fire to have on the PS5. There's honestly there's so many games that they could put on the PS5 remastered, and I mean it is annoying because obviously they do have like the contractual obligations and things like that, so they can't really put them on to the PS5. But yo, I'm telling you, if they was able to make it happen, and they slowly are, high key, they definitely are. But we need some more games, bro. We need some more games. Like